Let's go. The PTE Academic test is coming up very soon. If you're taking the test in the next day, 2 days, maybe 3 days, then you'll want to stay tuned because right now I want to go through some of the top tips that you need to know in order to raise your score, but also reduce mistakes as you jump into the exam. Let's get started. By now you should know that the test has been updated in August of 2025. So we're going to go through some of the important things that you should know in order to get that last minute score. Some of the changes were about question types. Others were how the marking is formatted. So I want you to know exactly what to look for in order to get a higher score. Now I'm Scott from hzadeducation. Every week we upload videos to help you get a higher score on PTE Academic. We have lots of different videos for speaking, reading, writing, listening. Tomorrow when you take that exam, you'll feel confident and ready and you'll get a higher score. Let's start off with speaking because that's the first part of the exam. Speaking and writing is categorized together, but they're kind of different, very different. So speaking is not really about pronunciation, and it's definitely not about accent. So you don't need to mimic another native English speaking accent. In fact, you want to control your own speaking. Really, clarity and rhythm is what they are looking for, as well as pronouncing words correctly, but it's not about your accent. So what we're going to do one day or even a few hours before the test is get our mouth warmed up. I know, it sounds a little bit strange, but speaking does not come natural to everyone. And if you're speaking another language at home and you jump into the test, your mouth muscles are familiar with your native language and the movements of your mouth. So what I want you to do right before the test is go on to some TED Talk videos or any other video online with a native English speaker. Mimic their voice. Don't worry about accent. We're looking for intonation and rhythm of their speech. What you can do is start the video and after every few seconds, pause, repeat that same sentence. You could do it with this video right now. Pause, repeat that same sentence. Rewilding can happen in your own backyard.
In an urban park.
In an urban park. It would be better if it's an academic video with more intellectual vocabulary because that will help you for topics that are on the exam. You're simply going to repeat that sentence, warm up your muscles in your mouth. Really, fluency is about controlling your steady confidence. Having minimum hesitations, or at least natural hesitations. Let's go on to writing tips. Oh my God, writing has become harder. Students are nervous and worried about it. There's only 2 actual writing sections, but you will get marks in other areas for your writing. But for now, let's focus on the 2 writing sections. Summarize a written text and the essay. You're getting a lot of points here, 22 marks and 24 marks in total for these 2 areas. Now it seems like PTE Academic is kind of on to us about templates, so we're going to use less and less templates and more content style writing. And I'll get into that in just a second, so please wait. First of all, let's focus on summarize a written text because it's shorter and it's the first thing you'll get on the exam. The content is there for you. The whole paragraph is there. You should be using the information in that paragraph to generate your 1-sentence summary. Think about using vocabulary words, not just single vocabulary words, but phrases. It's even better if you can adapt some synonyms or some alternative phrases to match the idea, but use your own creative words. This being said, we can apply a general template, but it's just there for structure. The template like this is ensuring that you get a nice, complex or compound sentence, and that you don't have to worry about your beginning or your transitional words, your connecting words while you're in the exam. So you can still use this, but you need to use your own vocabulary words or pull words from the content that's there for you. Now, spelling does matter here. Spelling is very important, especially after the 2025 updates. That being said, if you're not confident on the spelling of a word, don't use it. Simply don't use it. If you're trying to spell definitely and you don't remember if it's I, E, or E-I, just don't use it. Replace it with another word because you will lose marks if your spelling is incorrect. We're aiming for no spelling and no grammar mistakes. That's idea. Let's move on to the big boss of writing, and that's write an essay. Yes, 20 minutes, 200 to 300 words. You'll be closer to that 300 words. Now, there's a lot to know for this section in terms of format, question types, like is it a cause and effect or a problem and solution essay? You should be able to identify that in the question or in the prompt. If you're not familiar, we made another video just on writing an essay, so do check that out. You'll find it on our page. Now, you're going to write about 3 or 4 paragraphs. It's a lot. At this point, templates alone aren't going to give you the highest score. But because we're under time constraint, we have 20 minutes. I don't want you thinking about how can I use a transitional word? How can I make a complex sentence? So there are templates that you can use that'll help you to keep your format or your structure in your essay. And it'll look something like this. You could adapt this to different types of question prompts. Ultimately, though, please remember that the template is there so that you have good complex sentences, you're using transitional words, and you might have 1 or 2 or a couple sentences that'll help you to just get that word count and maintain some idea. But the most important thing in the write an essay is time management, proofreading, and making sure that you're understanding the question type. You need to understand what are they asking you to do. Because if it's a problem and solution essay and you don't provide a solution, you'll lose a lot of marks. Thinking about time, spend 1 to 2 minutes to read the question and understand it. Don't rush these 2 minutes. It is very important that you do brainstorm, that you do think of your own ideas, because the answers aren't there like they are for other writing sections. Once you're done writing, you need to save 3 minutes for proofreading. And I promise you these 3 minutes are crucial. We're looking for spelling, we're looking for grammar, and then some format as well, and content and ideas, but spelling and grammar is very important. If you have mistakes, you're simply going to lose marks on spelling. When you proofread, I recommend, this is my habit, I recommend reading it backwards. You could do it twice, forwards and backwards. When you read backwards, you start at the last word and you read backwards. It won't make sense, but you're only looking at individual words. This way your brain isn't just skimming through yes, 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 correct, correct. No, you're looking at each individual word, ensuring that it's spelled correctly. No spell check on the exam, they only have copy, paste, and word count. So can I use templates? Yes, but a template without strong ideas won't get full marks. So we need to balance that use of template and also understanding the prompt and your own ideas. Are you ready for reading? Okay, reading after the 2025 changes has really become a timed pressure exam. We know that you can read, the examiners know that you can read, and after some time you could understand, but what they are doing is testing you on how fast you can read and understand content. So drink some coffee before the exam, turn on your brain because it's fast. Now, luckily, there are some high value parts and some low value question types. So what I want you to understand is the graph like this, where we see there are some very low marked questions, and I don't want you to spend more than 30 seconds on these questions. Multiple choice, single answer, multiple choice, multiple answer, very low scoring. Do not waste time. However, these 2 sections do have negative marking, so you cannot skip it altogether because you'll get negative marking if you don't answer a question. What you want to do is give it your best attempt in 30 seconds. If you still really don't know the answer, just select what you can. You should always be using process of elimination. That means if you get 4 options, likely you could eliminate 2 because they don't make sense with grammar or they don't make sense with context, and then you're down to 2 out of 4, and that's a 50% chance that you'll get it right. So that's better than 25%. Fill in the blanks are the heavy hitters when it comes to the reading section, so make sure you put most of your time and focus on fill in the blanks. Here you can spend a minute on each question, perhaps more. And the nice thing with reorder a paragraph is that you are rewarded for partial correct answers. So for example, if you get pairs together, pairs of sentences, you'll get marks on that. You don't have to get the entire reorder the paragraph correct. So even if you're not sure on one question, keep in mind that you're getting partial marks for every attempt. Now we're on to listening. Listening is one of those sections where you're getting marked in many different areas. One, there's lots of questions on the listening section. Some are high value, some are low value. But you're also getting scored for listening in the speaking section that you did at the beginning of the exam. So it's kind of spread out throughout the exam. Low value questions, we're thinking about multiple choice, single answer, multiple choice, multiple answer, highlight the correct summary, and select a missing word. These are fairly low valued questions, so again, spend less time or less energy on them. Give them 1 minute each. Don't overthink them. When it comes to high value questions, we have summarize the spoken text, fill in the blanks, highlight incorrect words, write from dictation. Now the best strategy for highlight incorrect word, this one requires you to listen and follow the text exactly as you hear it. Follow the transcript visually and listen for things that mismatch. If you lose track of the text or the audio, don't waste time going back because you're going to lose everything else. So if you missed one question, skip it, move. You have to be following the audio as it's playing. Otherwise, you'll miss all of the answers. Now, the best strategy I've seen for this, because there is no negative marking for write for dictation, what you can be doing is write multiple words. Let's say, for example, you hear the sentence and you don't know the article. Let's say the article is a or in or a or the, and you don't hear it properly. You can write both articles or both words or both spelling variations of a word. Your sentence won't make sense grammatically, but you get a point for each correct word and you don't lose marks for incorrect words. So it could look like this, where you have a and the, and you'll still get full marks because you have all of the answers. Now, because this part is the big boss, you should be applying this type of strategy to write from dictation. So if you are taking the exam today, tomorrow, or perhaps in the next few days, what you need to focus on is not studying everything. You should be studying strategically, working on areas that you can get the most mark and kind of bypassing or giving a quick attempt to the areas that don't bring you high marks. This is the best way that we've seen last-minute test preppers get a high mark instantly. Now, if you feel like you're struggling in a certain area, such as writing, the essay, listening, or even speaking, any of the areas, do get in touch with us at HZadeducation. We can help you one-on-one to develop your speaking, writing, listening, reading skills so that you do get a high score on the exam. Follow these tips on test day and I promise you will do better than you expected. The test is not there to kill you, although it might feel like it. It's there to test your comprehension and in some areas to test your speed. Now, if you're still here to the end of the video, please remember to like and subscribe to the video. It helps our channel grow more so we can help more people. I'm Scott from HZad Education. It's a pleasure doing business with you. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.